Okay. So please hang on live. Yeah. So again, just toggle between this and this.
Okay.
So if something pops up here, then we'll see what they say.
Yeah.
When it's a question for a topic, then just answer it. Just ask it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should get one view already. So you can see the few.
Yeah.
Those are like views. True. See? But usually like, it takes a bit to
Are we going for
and then it's winding up.
Okay. Okay, like
So you're helping.
Yeah, just one.
Wow.
Rising. No, it's not. So.
Oh, you want to change that check?
But this is yeah. But the thing about it is I'm not late Aren't you the red panda? The red panda is my friend. It's a red panda. It's from the River Safari. He's so curious. He just come out and just start walking around. He's like, walking around. In the River Safari. Yeah, the River Safari is really cool. It's the pandas. Yeah, I like the special pandas in
Between your legs.
Oh yeah, here's Serena.
Start tweeting.
Serena.
So it's considered starting now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the picture.
No, this was after the final day final. The final. Serena. Let's see what I can do. What part was it? Okay. Everybody can see it. Okay, cool. Okay, thanks everybody for coming on this Saturday. Welcome to the Singapore satellite of the Blue Plus, the unofficial Blue Plus Film Festival. So we're still unofficial. So I just want you to walk us through a little bit about what is the history behind the festival, as well as what is what is StoryCode, since StoryCode is the organizer of this event. But before we go into this, I just want to thank all of our sponsors. One Maker Group is the space you're in right now. This is a maker space. It's a very fantastic environment for people to come here and create their own things. So Robin and Diana were extremely helpful here in setting it all up. That one is Phoenix, so they helped us promote the event, so thanks a lot for that. And thanks a lot for my amazing volunteer group. So Michael and Gary, Sophie, and
Leon.
Okay, Okay, so how this works today here is we have a camera here, which is basically live streaming what we do here to our panel. So this goes live to YouTube and festival pages, and then after this panel, we basically all some let's say and we can put some drinks over there. And then we just want to show three of our creators and then do another hangout, but that's more personal one with creators from the US. You can follow for this how this looks out for the book. And yeah, so since we're in the sponsor section, maybe Michael, you just want to dig in quickly.
Oh, about the my event?
Yes.
Okay. Basically, on the 7th of December, we're having an event called Cartoons Underground. It's going to be at Canvas, which is the old home club. It's been revamped. It's going to be from 4:30 p.m. onward. It's completely free. It's donations by the door, kind of as you want to donate. And it's showing like a lot of animation films from around the world, including an animation film from RCA, which has been shortlisted for the Oscars also for next year. And we also have Showreel Showdown, where we're taking 5 showreels from various people around Singapore, and we're going to have an open critique with an animator from Lucasfilm, as well as ex-Double Negative staff member, and also a producer from Omen Studio. So if you're interested in attending this event, it's on the 7th of December, and the website is www.cartoonsunderground.com. So it's really easy to remember. Yeah, thank you.
Good, thanks. I thought it's important because we don't actually show films here today. Paying for the films, all the film screenings, all the film blocks, there are several film blocks stored in the event. They're all online. I will show you a quick schedule later on. So first of all, I'm Marco. I'm from StoryCode Singapore, and StoryCode is a local content creators community where we sort of meet up and then try to find new ways of telling stories. And it originated in the US, in New York, 2 years ago, and it grew to a really huge international community. And this one is basically the Singapore chapter. And there are chapters all over the world. I think we're now at 12 or 15 chapters now. Paris, London, LA, and so on. And basically what we in Singapore do is we usually meet up and we invite one local artist that sort of helps us through a creative process, and then during those meetups we do sort of like micro hackathons. So we try to figure out how can we utilize specific technology in order to tell new stories. We had lately we had a workshop with a 3D printer, basically our 3D printer like machine. We had comics and cardboards. So we always like to explore new ways of telling stories. This event is a little bit off the grid for us, but looks like involved in something more new, something more innovative. Okay, so the Google Plus Film Festival, just so you have a little bit of the background here, started actually 4 years ago. So this is already the 4th edition, and it started right after Google Plus was launched. So, and it's primarily run by independent filmmakers. So there was a this guy called Adam Cole in the US. So he's a filmmaker from Nashville, and he just saw the potential of Google Plus and thought, okay, you can do actually an entire film festival just on Google Hangouts. So if you're not familiar with Google Hangouts, it's essentially a tool within Google Plus that functions similar to Skype. So it basically creates online video chat functions, and you can bring in a lot of people. I think 10 or 15 by now. And basically, the entire festival is run through these Hangouts. So there are a bunch of panels, not just panels like here, but also panels where we sort of get people in from all around the world into the same round. And basically talk about filmmaking, talk about short filmmaking, talk about online filmmaking. And yeah, so, and then also there are film blocks, the screening blocks, so the films that are being selected for the festival. They're also being streamed live on Google Hangouts or basically rather live through YouTube. So wherever you are in the world, you can always participate in the festival. You can always check out what is running right now. Yeah, so this is the rough schedule for this year. So those are the main dates. This opening weekend, and then the entire festival runs till the end of the month. So all the film blocks they will be available till the end of the month. And you see there are a couple of other events happening. So we're right in the middle. And once we are finished, Hollywood. Will follow us and then Spain. And actually, the idea was so after the film festival was created, after the second year, we started to do offline events. So we wanted to basically bring it to local communities and basically enable them to meet up and basically connect to filmmakers abroad. And that's where we sort of we are starting with these live satellites like this one. And this is actually the second one in Singapore. So we did one last year. And again, I'm really happy that we have so many people coming today. Because last year we had this event. So it wasn't that known. Okay, so let's jump right in. For a meeting panel. And I was thinking that we talk about web series creation in Singapore. Because in the last 12 months, web series creation actually took up a lot of steam in Singapore. And there were a lot of web series popping up. And the big shots basically of this series. Yeah. So we have, let me see. So we have Derek from Etsy. And this is basically a local online video community. I think Derek is better say.
Yeah. So I'm one of the co-founders of Etsy. We're a startup based here in Singapore, Right now the team's about 7 of us here in Singapore and KL as well. So we created this online platform because we're filmmakers and we're engineers at the same time. We realized that there's so many great stories out there, so many great short films out there that otherwise gets buried in the sea of content online. So what we're doing is we're curating great short films, specifically from Asia, up from Korea all the way across to India. We're not there yet in the Eastern West Asia bit yet. Hopefully go over content. But yeah, we share a film a day, free, so you can actually go on to Etsy.com and check out the films. Yeah, we're doing really well.
Actually, you just had a major milestone.
Yeah,
recent.
So we released our first mobile app for iPhone about 2 days ago. Apple featured us as the best new app across Asia. So please help us download, spread the word.
So everybody download the app.
Thank you.
When's Android coming out?
Coming up soon. We're working on it. Yeah, our team's small, so we kind of have to focus.
So next, Jason Chris from Banana Mana Films.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I'm Christian. This is Jason, and we're an independent production house, primarily focused on long-form drama in English with Asian faces. To sum it up, what we aspire to do is sort of like Korean dramas in English, where we rope in the audience, some sort of nice humor as well as great dramatic moments. And we struggle with this cause, but we're pretty much committed to it. I think we're pretty over the hill in terms of career change. So it's all or nothing for us. Anything you want to add?
Okay, and last speaker is right. Thank you. And also, and he's actually one of the two filmmakers that got featured on Bitsy, the series. Okay.
This is just a
Actually, you do something else.
I do comics. I started writing comics. Right now I'm doing comics and
Okay, just a really quick introduction. What is a web series? You might have heard about the term. Essentially, it's not what's it called? So it's not like a full 3 series that is just put on the. So web series are really short form content, so series that have an episode length of 5 to 10 minutes maximum, and it's a very new format. It's primarily made for mobile and online consumption, and it's actually a very strong immersion format, especially in North America and in Europe. There has been a whole infrastructure, a whole sub-industry around web series creation. And actually, there are a lot of web festivals around in the world that sort of celebrate web series creation. And there's some Millennial will tell us a little bit more about this in a second. But the problem in Asia is actually that it hasn't really taken up speed. Especially in Singapore, we don't have a real functioning community around web series. We have like a sub-community about short films and about feature films. But so far we haven't had sort of enough content, obviously enough committed to this particular new genre, or new form. So I want to really just jump right into Christian. I'm really bad. So you actually had 2 web series coming out this year, and both were extremely successful internationally on web festivals. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about this journey that you went through this year. Maybe starting first with the cycle back. The 2 main ones.
Okay, so we started actually as a corporate production company, but we always wanted to make films, seeing as we were both actors, right? And so we went into just one short film at the end of our 2 years of corporate production video making, and we had gotten into the finals of the ASEAN International Film Festival. We thought we want to make something bigger, we want to move on, but it's pretty tough. Luckily, Toggle at the time, which is a new platform, an online platform created by MediaCorp, was quite desperate for content, so we got to go. And they said, hey guys, would you like to make a web series, an online web series? We said, yeah, of course, let's make one. They said, well, we'd like them up to be about 5 minutes, roughly. And we'd like, we probably pitch for a short story, maybe 20 episodes. And they said, we'd like 65 episodes. Thought, whoa, we've only done one 5-minute short film so far. That, suddenly they wanted 65, and they wanted it written and pre-production done in 1 month. So they wanted us to go into filming within a month and then deliver within 3-4 months, I think, at the time we were doing. So it was ridiculous. When they read the scripts, actually, we were just going at it every night, using a lot of this technology we spoke about, actually. How we wrote it was on Google Hangouts. I was traveling at the time, so Christian was here in Singapore. We do a Google Hangout, and we just write the entire story on Google Documents.
Just so usually a web series season has around 12 episodes, maybe 5 episodes. So it's not that big. And then usually only like big studios, like in the US, Fox or Warner Digital, they really produce a series that are like 48 episodes. I mean, 65 sounds tremendous.
Can I add into your story? I'll just add 2 points. That might be well. At that point in time, we were kind of wondering what was our next short film, and Jason was saying, "Hey, look, bank account for the company's looking down. I think we need to get another corporate video done." And we just ate corporate videos with a passion. So I said, "Okay, before we do that, just give me one shot." And I called the commissioning producer, and he said, "Okay, come pitch us something, but we're looking for lifestyle things like travel, cooking, that sort of thing." I was like, "That's not what we want to do." But we went in, and he was receptive to our idea, and he wanted episodic. So this is the point I want to make. He wanted episodic. He basically wanted YouTube videos, like top 10 lists or something, where you had a beginning and an end. It just ended there, 5 minutes, and then you move on next week. Doesn't matter if you watch the first episode or second episode. So this is my sage advice: is we just sort of did what we wanted and pitched what we wanted, which was a serial. Like we cliffhang, and then you get into. So basically, we cliffhang for 65 5-minuters. So if you watch the show as like half hours, it's pretty intense. Every 5 minutes, there's something happening, which we learned. Hey, that's what filmmakers are. That's what a TV show's about. You got to keep the audience kind of engaged. I just wanted to add that it was a real turning point for us. So what did turn from them wanting sort of like YouTube videos, 5 minutes, to us scoping out 65 5-minuters, to them seeing one script saying, basically going, "Oh, we can get a 2-for-1. We can air this on Channel 5 if it's good enough. Let's see if it's good enough. And why don't you script out for 13 episodes, basically half-hour episodes?" And we were just going, "Oh my God, we just finished the scripts." You know what? So it's all how you perceive things. So it's like, and very much true. The YouTubers weren't even taking the commissioning at that time from who we talked to. So in other words, the budgets were horrendous. But we looked at it as a calling card, an opportunity. It can always turn into something positive. So we looked at, okay, let's crank it out a week's time. Let's flush it out to where we can make this work for a half-hour episode for 13. And so we just turned it, even though it was a lot more work, we seized it as an opportunity. And then we ended up with the TV series.
I find this journey really interesting because usually web series makers struggle to basically get their product out. They usually shoot it on crowdfunded finance or basically on their own finance, and then they try to find the right platform to distribute it, and maybe hoping that the TV station picks it up, but getting to actually commission, and then you have to go put it on Total, and then now they put it on Spotify.
But it's it's like the right time, right place. Very, very rare opportunity where we looked at a backlog of hours that needed to be filled with budget that was going to disappear if it didn't get used, with nobody really pitching, and us just foolishly going, "Hey, we can do this story about 2 struggling actors. Basically, take our lives and write into a series."
Do you have any numbers? How many people watch it?
I just requested for viewership. One of the problems, actually, is that the staff that we're working with quite closely have all either been transferred to different departments or they've left to greener pastures. So we're kind of like left in a lurch as to who to contact. We've been now slowly, there's been some new rehires, so we're getting in contact and giving them up to speed.
But you don't have an understanding of
We don't. I'll be honest with you. I think the last thing I asked was, how did it, how did it do on Taco? Because you don't list the number of views, and they said, it didn't really do very well. But it's doing okay on. But
do you have any feedback like from online that people comment on it?
Taco doesn't have a feedback mechanism, so they on our own social media, it's been really good. So when we're on Channel 5, one of the challenges is for people, if you want to watch it, please watch the Toggle Originals, which is our original cut. Channel 5 took it, and even though it passed all NBA censorship, Channel 5 continued to censor it, and to the point that the last episode was, for us, unwatchable. Like there was no, the story had been taken out of it. That's their prerogative. But I guess, so when we're looking at feedback from Channel 5 and from Toggle on our own website or our own social media, it's been really, really good. People have said lots of things about, oh, I love the fact that it's all in fluent English. That's what they said. That's not me speaking, but it's one of the few shows that I've watched end to end within 2 days. So a lot of people have logged on and said, I just had to watch it. In fact, the majority of the friends community who've watched it said, yeah, I logged on. By about the 5th episode, it got me, and then I had to watch the whole thing in 1 to 2 days. Which meant that we felt we had achieved something, at least, in that series are really hard to do. And I think that's why it's tough to get into, it's tough to achieve, and it's tough to get funding for, because writing a series and getting people hooked is a really tough job. I mean, it's tough enough doing a short film, but we'll try to go cliffhanger, for 65 times. I mean, we were struggling writing it. What else can we do? Come on, it's just 2 guys, looking for love. But I think we managed to achieve something that has quite a few people write to us on our website. We don't know how that will transfer to numbers. And again, in terms of getting funding, getting something recommissioned, everyone's asking about those numbers. So that's our biggest challenge now.
So, go to Ben. You have a website called Log at First Sight, and that is on Vidsy right now. But you're actually a filmmaker, right? So making a web series was something new for you.
Actually intended not to be a web series. Actually meant to be, I wanted to do a feature film. So, but the resources I didn't manage to do a feature. So I got into MBA for sponsorship of software. So I cut the story into 2, and then I sent it for short grant, another feature grant. Because I think short grant, they are more lenient for the challenges. So let's try, and I got one part of the story funded. So the other part was not funded. So I was thinking whether should I proceed or not. So anyway, I did it. And then what's my, so it's half of the feature, it's 42 minutes. It's not here nor there. Right? It's 42 minutes. So the part I wanted to start my own YouTube channel. I saw some successful YouTube channel where they have regular stories. So I just wanted to test out these stories. So I cut it big parts.
And how did you get in touch with this?
I know through some social media or entertainment groups. So I saw some of your film on their website. So once I completed my film, I put it to them. See whether
But then you had 8 short films. Right? Then you had 8 short films.
I have 2 versions of film at first sight. One is 42 minutes, one is 8-part series. So I wanted them to show the 42 minutes one. Yeah, then I told them they also knew I cut it into series. So I just asked them to do so.
So here's a bit of background. So when people actually submitted this film to us, we didn't have our web series, our feature online yet. So we actually got this for you to that was kind of like we knew we wanted to go into web series, so
But why, I mean, what sort of made you decide to go all in for web series? Going from short film to web series?
Yeah, so for us, our vision is really short form content. People are not in a way getting their content on TV that much anymore. They're going on YouTube, online, getting films, push into your subscribe news feed. A lot more people are getting the media content on Facebook, on Twitter, more so on Facebook right now. They're getting news on Facebook. We're now seeing a lot more videos. I think Facebook just turned on this auto play feature, so scroll down your news feed and just see videos constantly playing. So they're changing the evolution of how you're kind of like presented media. You don't turn on TV. You don't have a TV station kind of like packaging content for you. But you're in a way creating your own content on your own newsfeed. You're getting content coming in. So we saw that. We saw how consumers were moving, and my team, where we started off as short film makers, we see that as kind of like the movies for the internet. Series to us was really TV for the internet. So we knew that we wanted our platform to not just be for the movies, but also to bring in serial content, TV content, TV for the internet type content as well. So we started to open up the web series option. Also because we had Big Post web series content, but at that point of time also there was enough content that was on MediaCorp's SIM MSN platform called Get Social. The creator knew what we were doing, and they kind of like seen how our platform had picked up over the past year. And what they wanted to do was actually take down their content from MediaCorp. The numbers were really small on their platform. So we wanted us to help them with how like marketing and distributing their web series. So everything kind of like came together in that moment, and we created our web series together.
How about you for me right now?
Pretty good. Pretty cool. But Big Post content is giving, I think, more than 100,000 views right now for our platform. We are also official partners with YouTube, so we've also used the YouTube channel to kind of help with web series as well. And when we launched Get Social, which was our second web series, we actually employed kind of like a distributed strategy. So we didn't just premiere it on our platform. We did it across YouTube, Dailymotion. We're partners with Yahoo as well. I think we only push up the pilot episode from there before they back to our platform. So we kind of like just spread the content out and see it out to as much as possible.
It's a big comment. I think you could see very strategically in sending your content and how to develop the world different platforms and other festivals. So your vision is like supporting the creators in getting the word out, building your second web series. So we had a second web series called Project Europe this year. And from what I saw, it was sort of self-distributed. Right? You put it on your what? Well, we put it on Vimeo because we wanted control. Ultimately, we self-funded. Well, what had happened was after we got commissioned for What Men Want and it started release, they froze all their commissioning to sort of restructure. So it sort of left us in the lurch because we had been promised a whole year's worth of work on doing dramas. But that's okay. So we sort of just took a step back and said, well, we're creators and we're writers and we just have to create another web series. So that's how we got into Perfect Girl. Then when it came to distributing, we basically faced the biggest challenge that we did see everybody does. It's how do you monetize it? How do you get a return back? And if someone's not going to break the waters to just sort of risk it, and for us it was just a lot of equity sweat. We built it, we did it. It's a very simple love story. We were quite happy with it, and we decided to say, okay, let's build a platform. So prior to corporate videos, we were in online directories. So as well, we love building platforms and just said, well, how can we make it aesthetically look fantastic? Get it out there, put payment gateway, and just struggle, face the challenges front on, but have control. So why Vimeo instead of YouTube is that Vimeo it locks, so they have to watch it within your site, and then you're left with the huge monumental task of marketing, which is probably it's the second half of the game. You're not going to win the game unless you tackle marketing and you can accomplish it. It's a struggle we're still toying with, but add to that, please.
Well, I think I see it as three major parts now. It's funding and sales. Sales to get funding in the first place, to get the web series made in the first place. Then it's getting something made, which is a huge sort of model. And then the last part, which is just as big as all three parts, is sales and marketing again. And so we've been doing that just almost now, well, 2 or 3 months after a kind of a 4-month process of making Perfect World, which just this time is a 10-episode, 5-minute, 5 to 10-minute series. But one of the things I think which I would suggest people which helps with the marketing is web series festivals, like we mentioned before. There are a lot of them now. They're popular everywhere. So we got Perfect Girl into Rome, Miami, Atlanta, LA, Webfest. And so picking up awards and nominations in those certainly helps people pick that button to just go play. Otherwise, it's a tough game because I think it's such a new genre that very few people really think about, how am I going to invest a whole lot of time watching a web series? It's a long film, so it's not like a short little piece of content that you watch on Facebook. But ultimately, we love doing it, so we can't help it. We wanted to do something long form and to tell a full story over an hour. We like doing that, and we thought it would work. It's small numbers at the moment because we have pretty much relegated it to just showing on our website. So we haven't pushed it out on YouTube at all. We haven't pushed it out everywhere. We've just sent it to festivals, but it's doing pretty well. We're going to speak at LA Web Fest this year, and we'll be nominated for 8 awards there, so it's good. And like it's getting somewhere in terms of sales and marketing, but we still want people to watch it. So
I can also add just why we put it on Vimeo to sort of restraint control as well. It's like Paul, we repurpose and we cut it. We learned that nobody, in terms of traditional distribution broadcasters and agents, they're not going to pick up a web series unless they're doing IPTV. But the big money or the real money is in like telemovies or actual television series. We knocked ourselves because we said, well, if we put a little bit more effort in, we could actually have turned it into a feature film. So we recut it to about a 67-minute piece. And so we're holding back from really trying all distribution routes to actually go to ATF and get it. We've been in contact with an international distributor who's seen it at our screening, really liked it, got some interest. You never know, it's all talk, but unless you package it and sell it as kind of a product, then you sort of see what kind of legs it has. If it doesn't, then yeah, out for free. It's just our piece of art for art's sake. Out to the public. Yeah.
I think there's a feature film.
Yes. We had it to a 67 minute. Yeah.
So that's actually a very popular route. After filmmaker completed the online one for the web series, they create a feature film version of it, and then try to sell it again as a regular film. Sure. So there's an add-on financial component. Okay. I actually want to open up now the floor for questions. So the whole time. Yeah, sure.
I know nothing about what you guys are talking about in experience, but when I love film, and generally, a lot of filmmakers, they take years making a film because they're trying to fund it. So you talk about the topics of funding. So it sounds like you've actually made everything without money, or there's no money, and then wait for everything to come back afterwards. Is that what's happening? Because traditionally, filmmakers they would have a script and it would take 10 years or 3 years. So I was just trying to understand sort of funding development.
things have changed very quickly in actually the last 6 years. When we first sort of met each other as actors and we wanted to get to filmmaking, the only thing we could do was at the time buy a 16mm camera, which was $5,000-6,000, and almost an antique, which we did. And then we bought film, and a film roll was about $400 or $500 for 10 minutes of film. And then we had to learn how to do all that, loading film, running it through, and then it cost, anyway, long story short, a 5-minute short film would cost you about $5,000 to make, and usually with a crew that knew what they were doing. Within that 5 or 6 years, technology has changed so much that we can now get a camera that shoots 4K, which is high resolution in most cinemas project now, for under $2,000, an iMac for under $2,000 that can edit it all, do special effects, color grading, we can do all our own sound. So in the past, all these things had to have specific, people looking after it on set, so it was very, very expensive. So what's happened is that we've got the democratization of filmmaking, where everyone can grab a camera and write and get together with their friends and make it. And then with the internet sort of booming, I think YouTube sort of opened around 2005, 2006, it got really big. So within those 5 or 6 years, suddenly we had distribution, it was free, it was worldwide. The challenge is though, now that we've got that, opened up to us, though that there's so much stuff. And so you need curation, which is what these guys are doing. You need someone to sit there and go, this is the content you need to see, otherwise it just gets lost. And on top of that, because everyone is doing it pretty cheaply and with no funding up front, advertisers are also saying, well, why should we pay so much now? Everyone's doing it. And you know what? This guy over here who's got lots of followers, or this girl over here who's got lots of followers just making Instagram pictures, will pay the same number of views that your film, which might cost $100,000, $200,000 to make, might get. People are more likely to follow this than that. So there are, pros and cons to all that. It's become, in a way, commoditized, and so it's tougher and tougher for us to monetize.
But in terms of the positive to that, is that if you want to be a creator and you want to be a filmmaker, you don't have to spend that funds. You don't have to write your script and pitch it around, wait 5 years and hope that the NDA grant comes in and some private equity comes in. You don't have to worry about that. You can literally scale things down, you can actually start creating right away and get it out. And you never know. Something could take off, you build a fan base, but it's really just drop the barrier. So the only way you know is just to just jump in and do it. And learn all the
So basically, these 2 films, you did on your own money, and then
No, correction. The first Woodsman one was a commission series, so we were paying, and then Perfect Girl was self-funded. So, and then the shorts that we did before that, we just did self-funded.
Actually, a lot of web series makers create the pilot series first with their own money, and then either go the crowdfunding or the Kickstarter or the money. So it's very
Just to add on, I think one key to it is really audience building. When we started this year, it was really about audience. I get engaged audience coming back again and again. YouTubers are doing it really well. They don't take a long span of time to make content. They're able to maybe do a vlog and then do a shorter video. And within that span of time, they're engaging with the audience. Throughout the span of time, they're able to build that audience base that come in and subscribe to the channel. But with that, they're able to really build value to their product. We get advice on it. That part that's really good. So we're trying to use that to see how filmmakers look at building product to income. A lot of times I think short filmmakers are always selling film festivals is not really caring about audience. I think things have changed a little bit and giving you access to your own audience. How do you make your own product and moving on to the film story, connected with the audience, with the audience and that's where I think it's a channel to way for
I feel that as an audience, when you're watching feature film, it's a lot of build up. Like walking can take a few seconds. It's not like everything builds up to something. It's just a minute. And then with web series, because it's so short, you don't have time to build. It's just always in your face, in your face, in your face, nonstop. So I found it really interesting this year to re-edit it from a feature-length film to web series, or web series to feature-length film. How do you kind of doing the storytelling to like stage? How do you bridge this difference between feature film and like web series? You can't just say, oh, I have like 65 minutes. I just put all together and remember this or that way.
It doesn't work like that.
Whether it's a feature film or web series at 5 minutes, most of the, like they say, basically to engage the audience. So every 5 minutes, there must be something happening. So, so for me, it's every 5 minutes there's something happening. So I'm able to have that out as a series. That's how I try to engage it out for that long form.
But originally your project as a long form.
Yes.
But you already put these beats in.
Yes, because as a student, I try to be an audience and I try to write script. So I think I simple people just they want the person to speak a program or hire. So for me is I try not for me they have a purpose of doing that. So for me is I try to have something happening within that 5 minutes to engage the audience.
So basically, when you're like a web series filmmaker and you're doing long form, you kind of try and incorporate the same script writing methods so that when you actually do cut it, it's easier to cut it. In a way.
For me, it's more of trying to engage the audience throughout the film, not just like. So in between, I try to have something. There's a saying that for Hong Kong comedy, those comical movies, what's up is that they say every 3 minutes you must have a small joke. Every 10 minutes you must have a big joke. That's how they work. So I try to have that in my script as well.
I think we are still at the stage where we have to create responsive stories. So maybe we create one story, but it can fit into different forms.
Actually, Jason wants to add to that exact question. It is not so easy.
Yeah, it doesn't. I think it doesn't work. You can't simply cut it. Ours, it was really tough to cut into a movie because it was just too intense. We made it for an intense 5 minutes, and then when we cut that and sat alone and watched it, without breaks, it was just impossible. We just felt that in a movie, you actually need you need spaces to breathe. You need to sit and watch them walk for 5 minutes. So I don't think it's easy. The great thing about web series, though, and the liberating thing, though, is that there is no format. It's a new format, so we can start to play. And I think getting back to what Derek was saying too, we're hoping that everyone can find their audience. The beauty of the internet is we just have to get out there and find the audience. And bit by bit, we're finding people are coming in, creeping into our website, we're building it. We build from nothing to now we get about 300 or 400 views a day, and that's quite good considering. Like if we made a short film, we had 300 people in one night, we'd be very happy. And to realize that actually, for most people, 300 or 400 a day, by YouTube standards, this is nothing. But for us, we have to sit back and say, oh, if we did this 6 years ago, we had a room of 300 people, we'd be very, very happy. So, I think it's small beginnings of just building up slowly and getting your few true fans, and then continue to keep crafting with your own voice and see who else can follow. That's our perspective.
No questions here.
Sorry, I'm just head on to the question, right? For so-called traditional media, we are doing so-called having hangers before the TV commercial. So in web series, right, to engage the audience, how you all actually approach these hangers?
Same thing, every 5 minutes.
But almost still a commercial break, so yeah, you just definitely want them. There has to be a reason to have them come back for their next episode, or to click on the next episode.
Do you think that different as the web series must be more stronger than games? Or
people Derek's mentioning is, I mean, we take it from the stance of just trying to structure a good story and letting, I mean, a lot of it, I mean, just as artists, is you can constantly second guess yourself to provide what the audience wants, and you can really lose your voice, as opposed to really just going, this is a damn good story, and I love the way it flows this way, and let's just try and create it because we have the tools now. So I think that's our approach.
We don't know if we'll find our audience. We just want to make what we want to make.
so you're not at the point where you basically listen to the audience and then craft a story based on what they would like to see.
Well, it's hard enough to write. It's hard enough to just come up with an idea and flush it all out. So it's not like they're feeding back like, why don't you create something about like, a teenage boy and his dog? You know, really get that. So we just hopefully they'll start to be attracted to the voice that we do have in the stories and the breadth of experience that we do have, and just try and make it all gel together. We want to take the baby steps. We don't want to just throw ourselves in a big position where let's say we have funding for a feature film and they're and it's going through several drafts, and before you know it, everybody has a hand in the pie, and it's not even your vision. We'd rather just start slow, really work on hone our craft basically, and put all the elements together. It takes so much from not only writing a great script and to forcing yourself to edit the script, but then it's a matter of locking all your patience, then setting your shot composition, and then the big thing, which is directing your casting, and then directing those actors to give fantastic, truthful moments and finding that tension in the scenes, and then the edit out will go on. Sorry, Marco.
Okay, I think we can wrap it up here. Get up to these guys later on. Just the very last question, Like, what would be your advice to someone who wants to make web series and no one has done it before?
Do something wrong.
You're going to say do something else.
I think if you haven't done any short film before, the best way is just to experiment. Just try it, and then don't worry too much about the result, because you always keep improving. But if you never take the first step, then you never start. Yeah.
I kind of echo that. Jump in, do a pilot, do a short film, but it's not just a script, it's also production. One thing I always say is you got a good script, but lousy execution can get bad film. Yeah, lousy script and good execution can get bad film. So work on writing a good script. Work on going out, go out and shoot, go out and just use the camera, do auditions. You get a hand of experience, and then you work on execution, and then you're gonna get it done. So I said just practice. You don't have to practice making it as high as a web series first. Go hard at your short film, then go to the
I think same thing, just go out and do it, because I just wrote an article about it, because we, as actors, spend a lot of time sitting around talking about making your own stuff. Oh, I want to make my own stuff, I've got a script that I'm working on, but the reality is most of that time you're just procrastinating, because it's so hard to do it that you just have to do it. Even when we came, after doing that 65 episodes, we came to Do Perfect World, and we were struggling to get into it, and just to sit down and write is the hardest thing in the world. So my piece of advice is go and write. Just sit down, lock yourself in a room. It's horrible. You'll sit there staring at a wall, but just start to write things. You walked into a room, you saw someone on the bed, and there's a knife in the back. You just have to write. And if I was to give any advice about writing,
just write a whole series of events. Just start with that. And but it's the hardest thing in the world, but also it gives you the best skeleton because you've got these series of events and suddenly a story takes shape and everything falls together. And if you collaborate with the right people, we have a very small team of 4 people, but once I got the script out, they started adding things. Oh, what if this wasn't a cliff? What if it was a tower in the middle of a tree somewhere? And, then it gets exciting.
Not to sound redundant, but just to put in context that if there's other things you want to do in life, and you want to be an entrepreneur, it's a hard slog any way you put it. There's going to be mistakes. So what separates the women from the girls and the men from the boys is you just got to do it. You got to stop talking about it. You do it because you're going to make mistakes. But when the mistakes face you, that's when you can find the solutions. And you'll know right away if you clicked with it, if it feels good. And those struggles, those challenges that you overcome will fuel you, quite frankly. Whether it's finding the right actress, it will just spark and it will start to snowball. But you will never get to that stage if you don't take the first step.
So on that note, please go. We will change the arrangement a little bit. You can grab drinks if you like. And then you can just look over who showed up or we talk to the other guys on the other side of the road. Okay, thanks everybody. And
So it's still on. Yeah.
Should we leave it on?
Yeah.
So, yeah, 5 years. Only,
How long's the break? I was thinking of getting some food and coming back.
Fun?
I was thinking of getting some food and coming back.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Well, we just do that half hour and then we wrap it actually.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
The next one?
Is this like a month or
The whole event?
the whole list? Yeah. This is the same thing.
Okay, so basically it runs for this whole weekend and then I have a bunch of other events throughout this whole month.
Yeah.
So not just 16, it goes from 20. And first there will be one couple. There will be films will be on December. And then again, we do this series. It's very open. It's very flexible. You can be a part of it. Email Adam. Very flexible.
Those 5 years as a candidate.
So here's Adam.
Dia present.
Marco, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Cool. But I don't see you.
Yeah, I've got my video turned off at the moment.
Okay, good.
So I can go ahead and try inviting in some of the other filmmakers.
Yeah. Actually, how I
Okay.
would like to do it here is that we are rotating our guys through here. Because you see we are in this environment, so I don't want to open it too like broad. You know, it will be too loud. Is it okay?
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh. Yep. Okay, I had a stray window open. Sorry about that.
You had what?
I had a stray window open, so I was getting some feedback. Okay, so I missed the last thing you were saying about inviting the filmmakers in.
Yeah, so we rotate our filmmakers here through, because can't put it on speakers, otherwise you have the feedback in.
Okay. Well, let me see if you know, there'll probably be anywhere from 2 to 4 other filmmakers that I can get in. I've got one from Spain with a web series, and then I got somebody who just had their premiere, I think, yesterday with us out of New York, and then I might have 1 or 2 out of LA as well if they are awake. So.
By the way, we are still live, right?
Yes, we are still live.
Okay, good. So you know. Actually, I would start with the guys from Perfect Girl.
Okay.
Because they're in the festival, right?
Yeah, I believe they are the last day of the festival.
Okay, good. Let me know when you want to start, then I'll bring them in.
Okay. Let me see if I can get some other folks in here with us.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
The minute I wrote it and submitted it to the whole video filmmaker, magazine picked it up and said, we republished it. And then that next few days, it just goes like then people come and see
Anna, welcome. Marco, this is Anna. Anna is calling in from Valencia, Spain, and she's got a web series called Sin Vida Propia that she's premiering with us tomorrow night.
All right. Anna, you're doing the Valencia event?
Yes, it's hosting in Waco in the center of Valencia. And yeah, we'll be there tomorrow with our cast and crew, and we'll have fun.
Yeah. So welcome to the Singapore event.
Thank you.
So give us just a minute. I'm going to see if I can get 1 or 2 other people in, and then we should just move forward, and everybody can talk and do our thing as well. So I'm going to just text over a couple of invites too.
But watch it and see what you think. Tell us what you think. Genius idea for marketing.
Are you online right now?
Yeah, I need you guys actually coming in.
Oh, okay.
In a minute or two.
Julian.
Yes, hi there. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. My computer is old and crappy, so I don't know if my video is going to work, but I might see if I can find another laptop in my my house here and get a video on, if that works for you guys.
We're actually, believe it or not, we can see you and hear you quite well. So
perfect.
Pretty good.
No need.
Okay, great. So Julian, your web series is Whatever Linda, is that correct? Awesome.
That's correct.
Excellent.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Hey, our pleasure. Thanks for getting up this early in the morning and joining us. I think the other filmmakers that we got coming from LA, it's like 2 or 3:30 in the morning right there. So I don't know if they're going to be joining us. Why don't we, Marco? Why don't we go ahead and do our social and kind of open up everything to everyone? I'm going to go ahead and turn my image on. I'm a little. Here we go. I got my geeky Google shirt on today. So
perfect. That's good branding.
Yep.
I got my Spielberg shirt.
Oh, excellent.
The 5-tone from what is it? In Close Encounters.
Great.
Okay, so should I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So hello, I'm Marco, and I'm.
Yes, hi, I'm Julian.
I'm in Singapore.
Hey, Michael.
Marco, M-A-R-C-O.
Yes.
And we are here at the Singapore offline event for the Google Plus Film Festival, and I can just show you a little bit around. So we just finished our expert panel. See, we just had Halloween.
Yes.
And actually, it's a makerspace. So in the back, you see like a workshop, CNC machine, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pretty cool actually environment, pretty collaborative and creative. And I will loop in some of our filmmakers in a bit.
Perfect. Well, I think it'd be great for us to just kind of learn a little bit more about making web series in Singapore, and then obviously comparing that to both. You're in Toronto, is that correct, Julian?
That's right. Yes.
Toronto, and then of course Spain. So we're covering lots of different continents here today.
Mm-hmm.
Just. Okay. Let me bring in Jason. He's one of the filmmakers from. Sorry, careful. One of the filmmakers from Perfect Girl. Oh. Hello.
Hi, Jason.
Hi.
I'm Adam Cohen, the founder of the unofficial Google Plus Film Festival.
Oh wow.
And we've got Julian with us from Toronto, Canada. He just launched and premiered his his series, Whatever Linda, yesterday with us, and I think it's going online on Monday, if I'm correct. Is that correct, Julian?
Actually, the first episode, the last time we spoke, Adam, in betwixt that time, we had sort of a last-minute sort of possible deal with a channel in the UK, and we had to sign an NDA because of the stipulations of the agreement. But if it all works out well, we'll be playing quite prevalently in the UK in the next couple of weeks, and we'll have a big launch then to get their viewership on board, just so our independent release is a little bit more wide than independent.
Congratulations. And
yeah, thanks.
And Anna is calling in from Valencia, Spain, and she's got a really great web series called Sin Vida Propia, which is going to be playing with us on Sunday evening in Spain. It'll be Sunday afternoon in the United States. And then tell us a little bit about your series.
Our show is a comedy about a group of 30-somethings that don't really know what to do with their own lives. It's like very related with our situation right now in Spain, because I mean the young people are like living in his parents' place. They don't have a job for what they studied, and like we're in a very hard situation, and we just wanted to tell what we were living right now. The young people was living here in Spain. But in the comedy, I mean, it's not a drama or anything. It's funny, and people like to to laugh a little bit about their situation. So.
That's great.
Nice.
Look forward to seeing it.
And then Jason, right?
Yep.
Tell these guys about your series and what inspired you guys to create it.
Well, Perfect Girl is a 10-episode series about a guy and a girl who take 10 episodes to say they like each other. It's about two people who've written kind of letters to each other through high school, but never spoke to each other in the light of day, so they were incredibly nervous and awkward. 10 years later, they meet each other, and they have the opportunity to make that change, but they're just as awkward, just as nervous, and frustratingly sort of bumbling in their romance. And it sort of takes 10 episodes of, it's kind of a romance drama, I guess you would say, with a bit of a lot of comic elements through it. It's all about how hard it is to say I like you to the person that you really, really care about.
Excellent. Well, let me ask you this, guys. You know, from 3 different continents here, how are web series perceived as a real form of entertainment and content? I mean, all 3 of your series are incredibly beautiful productions, and obviously there's been a lot of time and energy and effort as well as money, whether it was self-financed or from other sources that came in. How are things perceived in each of your locations with web series?
Well, if I can start, it's certainly a very new genre here. It's not really picked up that well at the moment. We certainly don't have a Singapore web series festival at all. But you know, the YouTube is starting to really pick up. There are a lot of great YouTubers here who have built fantastic audiences. But in terms of long-form storytelling, I think it's still beginning days. And so trying to find our audience, even on YouTube, we started off just using Vimeo and our own platform. Trying to find that audience has been tough, and we get the majority of our audience from the US, actually.
Oh, okay, interesting. What about you, Julian? How are things perceived in Canada? I know you guys, at least Canada has a better support of the arts, so I know your government can often help out. Do they recognize web series as a form that's available? What else can you tell us about creating content there?
Yeah, they totally support it. I mean, it's not a utopia of art support, don't get me wrong, but I mean, for web series, one of the major funders, it is all publicly funded through the government. So the government hands out these huge grants to these big corporations, a la Fox Corp or whatnot, our Canada's version of it. And 2 funds specifically that we got were, one was the Independent Production Fund for Dramatic Web Series, and then there's another funding body in Ontario, which is sort of a province or a state, liken it to a state in the United States. So there's provinces in Ontario, and they usually help with tax credits, and if you're spending money in the province, you're sort of subject to tax rebates, etc. So in that sense, they're pretty ahead of the curve. It's been a couple of years running. These funds are now, you know, pretty well making these web series happen. And the IPF, the Independent Production Fund itself, now receives almost up to 1,000 submissions a year, when it used to be maybe a couple hundred, but in the last few years it's been seen as this portal to getting funding and making your web series. At the same time, though, I'd say 90% of web series are still, you know, independently financed. They're still very, very small. And they're usually they carry with them a bit of a stigma, just because they're not necessarily a new thing here. What they are now are they have the potential to get bigger, but they also have this reputation of being sort of small calling cards for actors who just want to do something. So every actor and his mother is saying, well, I'm doing a web series, actually. So, I mean, there's no harm in that, but at the same time, there does carry a bit of a bad taste in your mouth of it. So we've sort of, I think, because we've been fortunate to get this funding, we've able to make our show look really good. The production value is definitely on the screen, so it sort of changes the idea of what people think of a web series. So when they do come to watch it, I think they expect something and see a lot more and are a lot more surprised.
That's great. What about in Spain? Do you guys also get any support from the government, or is it?
No. Our government don't support culture in general, but especially web series. It's like, what's that? No, it's not a really popular format. But for example, in Spain, we have like 400, 500 web series right now. It's a popular format for creators because of the freedom and the lack of opportunity here in Spain also make us like create more web series and so. But we have to like self-fund them. For example, in our shows, Invitatopia is funded by crowdfunding, by Kickstarter, and it's like impossible to ask for the government to support shows here. Now, in our case, we just have a deal with Spanish television, so that's a good thing for us. But it's starting. Here it's a new format, so it's difficult for us to find like our way, our audience, and so it's complicated.
That's it's a reoccurring theme, I think, in many places all over the world. I think the whole idea of web series really is mirroring what we're seeing now, at least in the United States in television, which is some really amazing longer form content with incredible character developments, and I think that the explosion of what we've been seeing, at least in our festival, is the bar has been raised so much with these web series that the productions have really gotten better. The writing is fantastic. I mean, it's all three of your series are great examples of just how this this thing has grown over the years. Let me ask you this, guys. I think we all know that pretty much anyone can get a camera. Everybody's got some way to edit stuff. And I think that maybe the real barrier to entry with filmmaking, whether it's web series or feature films, is all about marketing. How do you guys each handle the marketing aspect? Because, as you say, getting and finding that audience is really the key. So feel free, any of you, to take the question.
I can start here in Toronto. Marketing, I think it's a twofold approach. One, we have a digital and interactive media company called Secret Location, who is our executive producer. They do a lot of very, very intense and creative website work for other television shows, such as The Amazing Race or Portlandia, or sort of more successful shows here in North America. But this is their first foray into original content, so in terms of getting traditional media, that is a bit of a coup, it's a bit of a story. So I think that from that perspective, if you hook up with a larger company, you can sort of tailgate onto their press and their audience reach. Then I think it also has to do with, the concept and the timing of our show. The concept is, taking a very famous financial fraud crime in the United States and turning it on its head, making it about from the female perspective, also setting it in a different period, but keeping it really hip and fresh. For some reason right now with certain films like American Hustle, and there's right now in the zeitgeist is the late 70s is a very popular time, and also this idea of the female anti-hero now in certain stories and different kinds of arts and entertainment. sort of these different factors that have all come together on our show, and I think make for sort of a palatable thing that people might want to watch. Especially with something like Girls as well. I don't know if I'm naming shows and things that you guys know. Hopefully I am. But because of that, like this morning, we our national newspaper, the Globe and Mail, has done a story on my other creator, Hannah Cheeseman, and then our co-producer Mackenzie. And so the head of the front of our art section is about them, and then about the show. And so, because of sort of these different factors and the idea of women in film and how the statistics are still very low in our industry for sort of a strong female presence, we're trying to show that that landscape is shifting, and so I think we're starting to get a bit of media attention because of it. So you have your traditional media forms, which is very helpful, but I think also what we're trying to tap into is what our friend here in Spain is saying, sort of the YouTube, or even in Singapore, the YouTube audience, and the idea of the YouTube celebrity or the YouTube star is a very coveted thing here, along with other social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook and even Instagram. So we're trying to really heighten our own presence online on those different networks to be able to garner a larger audience. And finally, if I may say, we are premiering sort of a new share technology with our show. Secret Location has come up with, basically you're watching the show, and if you pause it, it freezes either a still or a scene from the show that you can then share immediately to social media platforms like Facebook or Twitter, or I believe Pinterest is the other one. So now they've made it easier for people to share right away something they might like about your show, and I think that's what it really comes down to, is not worrying necessarily about the traditional middlemen who you would go to get your show to go a little bit further to get an audience. Now the audience is there, so if you have the right sort of know-how and able to frame your show and get it out to a passionate audience, then they'll help you share it, just like sort of crowdfunding is doing in Spain for your projects. They'll help you get your show out to a large amount of people.
Excellent. We just so you guys know, we have Andy Goldenberg joining us, who is the creator and LA trooper extraordinaire right now, who created Bad Timing, and he just joined us. We were basically asking the question of how you handle the marketing of shows. It seems like everybody nowadays can get a camera, and so now the new barrier to entry is not necessarily getting something made, but it's getting something seen. And so that was kind of the question that we were fielding.
300 hours of video are uploaded every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of content out there. You just got to keep pestering blogs and targeting them specifically based on what you're shooting, and trying to get coverage, whether it's from your friends or from collaborations or reaching out to influencers. And yeah, each little piece of buzz or word of mouth you can grow upon, and keep hitting those same influencers with each new piece of buzz. Without, obviously it has to be a good, it's got to be something worthwhile.
Well, and I think what you've done too, you said in a previous Hangout that you've been on YouTube since what, 2006? Did I get the stat correct on that?
Yeah, I started pretty early.
So, I mean, you essentially have built a considerable following, if for no other reason, just by being there. Of course, you're also incredibly funny, so that certainly helps too. But
I would definitely admit that if you look at a lot of the people that were there in 2006, the reason that they have so many millions of views is because once upon a time they were one of 1,000 videos on the site. So it was all that anybody could watch.
Yeah. What about you? What about you, Anna? How are you reaching out to gain that following, find that audience?
Yeah, it's harder to get to know your show than to actually produce it or edit it or anything. The distribution part is the hardest one, and because of our budget, we are a really low budget web series. We started with social media. We started to post in Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Lots of stuff about our show, even before we started shooting. We were like introducing our main characters, also the crew of the team. I mean, we tried like to generate important community with our friends. We started with our friends, and their friends started coming. And we also tried to post lots of extra content about our show. Each episode has its own making of the show, how we shoot it or how we shoot it, and like special videos. I mean, we tried like to generate lots of contents for our community. And also we've got lots of support from the media here in Spain, especially because of the web fests and the film festivals, and so that they are positive news, so they try to spread the word. So it's like the two things that we've used: the traditional media and the social media.
Very nice. Jason, it looks like you dropped in and dropped out and dropped back in. So
yes.
How are you going about gaining that coveted audience that we all are so seeking?
I think it's the same thing. It's incredibly tough. But so the same creative team that made the show are now sitting in a room. Every day we're crafting posters, trying to craft news, getting it out to film festivals, obviously like this one. We realize that even amongst friends and crew or even actors, it's tough getting people to share. It's tough getting people and their relatives and friends to share or even watch, actually, sometimes, because I guess it's a tough ask, you know. People don't want to put in their time for much more than 2 or 3 minutes on Facebook. And when you're asking them to watch an hour's worth of content that they don't know anything about, no one else has told them anything great about it, then it's really tough. And I think it's the same with traditional media. Like, I won't go to see a film unless someone's written about it or I've been told by a friend, you've got to go and see this, is fantastic. I mean, there's so much that gets lost in the ether because of there's just so much content out there now. And sometimes I get really depressed because you get on YouTube. We were YouTubers 3 or 4 years ago. We were just making, useful videos on YouTube. And sometimes when we started making short films and put them on YouTube, I saw once, I was searching around, and about a year ago I started seeing people, with cat videos and people on safari watching a lion attack another animal. And I went, well, there's 1 minute of video that he didn't have to prepare, he didn't have to write it, and there's 5 million views. And he's advertising now because they can all be partners. So what I saw straight away was that, man, this revenue is going to be tough because it's got to be decreasing every day because everyone now has the ability to make any video and then monetize it. And that guy who lives on the safari can make a 1 minute video every day. If I have to write and produce and cast and pay people, we can't compete. It's really tough. And I think it's getting tougher even for people to justify why they would fund something like this, because certainly here in Singapore, there are YouTubers and there are people on Twitter and Instagram who probably earn a lot more by taking a selfie every day than filmmakers who are, taking 6 months to make a product. They get a following, and you know what? They get the eyeballs, and so the advertisers are getting behind them. So I don't know what the answer is, other than we have to hustle. We have to keep trying to find new, exciting ways to get buzz about our product. But to be honest, it's really tough.
Well, one of the things that I've I'm also an independent filmmaker. I've produced a fair amount of content, including a web series way back, and I certainly know all the. I know kind of the whole process from A to Z. But one thing that I think that really, and this is part of why I even created this festival, is that it's to bring creators like all of us together to share not only our experiences, but also to kind of cross-promote with one another. The idea of the festival is, hey, I've got this great collection of content. Now let's all promote each other's content. And suddenly now my audience is expanding because somebody else is watching it that maybe they hadn't seen it, and so it's kind of this mesh of a community that happens. And I think also with like Vidsy, they're also a great tool where they're promoting short films from all of Asia, if I understand their model correctly. And they're just starting to get involved in web series. So I think I think as creators, we really just have to pool all our resources, just like we do on a film set, and we say, hey, wow, we've got this great costume designer, and let's work with them, and next thing you know, we've got this great show. And I think the trick is now for all of us to say, hey, I've got a small audience, but they really love us, and I saw your content, and hey, maybe we can do some cross promotion. You guys do a little share, or a little shout out, or maybe we create some kind of event together, and really just let those the people that don't necessarily want to watch the cat jumping on a trampoline video recognize that there's really some amazing independent content being created out there.
Can I ask just a question? How many of you guys are putting your web series on a custom platform other than YouTube and Vimeo? Has anyone created their own platform? And how many of you would be willing to put it on, like, let's say, a group platform like Vidsy, for example?
As far as I understand, we have whateverlinda.com, and we're using a YouTube player for that. So I think we're going to be standalone in the sense that we'll have our own website, but then if it does appear anywhere or anyone shares it, I guess that means it'll be a YouTube player. We had to make a decision between YouTube and Vimeo, but in terms of sharing other people's content, I'm not sure. I'd have to, once we launch, I'd have to see what we allow on the site. I don't know if I make that call. I mean, I'd love to be able to share other content and vice versa, because I think, as Adam said, I mean, that's really the key. So, Jason? What's the name of the platform you just mentioned? Can you just explain like a bit about it?
So Vidsy is a platform in Southeast Asia. They're basically a curation engine. It's kind of like, I guess, Upworthy for short films and now web series. So they're curating. I think at the moment they're allowing anyone from YouTube or Vimeo to get on. I mean, they will personally select films. But I mean, one of the things that we did as well was create our own platform for the content. We're hosting on Vimeo, of course, but we kind of locked it out of Vimeo so that it's just residing on our platform. The key to that thinking is, well, at some stage we started trying to just, we have 5 episodes for free, and then after the 5th episode we ask, if you'll pay $1 to watch the remaining 5. And that was interesting. I mean, we didn't have a lot of traffic, but we found that I think about 2% of people who watched it would pay, which was still surprising. I mean, we actually asked for an email after the first episode, and that was really interesting too, and that 10% would give us their email and continue watching. So we started to see that as at least it's a viable platform. There are people who are out there that will come and sign up, and then there are people out of those sign-ups that will actually pay. Bearing in mind that I think it's getting tougher and tougher to ask for money for digital content, because there's so much out there for free. But I'm interested, I guess, to know how many of you guys are interested in doing something like that, conversion of pay-per-view, and if you've tried it, and if you've tried it with other people on board, like a whole group of web series creators.
Yeah, in our case,
I haven't
we
tried
haven't
it yet, but yeah.
work, but we haven't had it yet.
I want to ask you guys also, what about Facebook? You know, Facebook is trying to jump in on the video game, and you know, if I look into my video stream, there's the occasional video out there that all of a sudden has a whole lot of engagement. And you know, I think that there may be an opportunity here for web series creators to not only put their stuff out on Vimeo and YouTube, but also to upload these onto Facebook. You know, now what Jason was saying is one of the issues that you have when you start putting it out on some of these other platforms is you do lose a little bit of control. You know, Jason has just said the golden element, which is they ask people for something. Once you have that email address, you really can start engaging and working with your audience in the future. And some of the other places you lose some of that, but then you have to decide, well, is this just part of the marketing? So what are your thoughts on, you know, maybe adding Facebook to the mix for your stuff?
I use Facebook, but I don't use it for any kind of video sharing other than sharing the YouTube links on Facebook.
Yeah, same at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing the same.
Yeah. I think it's tough. It's really scary.
It's also a good idea to upload them on Facebook, but I don't know why. we put it in Facebook direct to our links in YouTube.
I think it's a great idea, except that I think the more we upload stuff that just gets out there, it's a chicken or egg thing. Some people say, well, we'll do it just to get the audience, and then eventually with the audience you have some power in terms of, you know, being able to monetize. But we think, well, we can try that later. So what we're trying now is to actually at least try to have a little bit of control with the audience, or be able to speak to them back and forth. I don't know. It's a very chaotic system of marketing nowadays. There's just so much.
Well, I think really all of you guys are doing great work, and it's just important for you guys to keep it up, and you know, it's all about building that team, finding that audience, and keep moving forward. You know, Julian, congratulations on the distribution deal that you got out of the UK. I think that's definitely going to really help you guys. You know, we have a platform here called Hulu, and I've seen a lot of web series that will get picked up after a launch, and so, you know, if you're successful enough in building that audience, sometimes they can recognize the market and go, oh, well, we want that too. And you know, it's just a matter of bringing it in from all sorts of different avenues, so that ultimately we can do what it is that we love to do, which is to keep creating.
That's right. Very true. I had a question. I just wanted to follow up with you guys in terms of WebFests, because we're applying now. We've shown it a couple. You know, maybe some good ones you might recommend, either in LA or in Spain or in Singapore. Stuff, ones that are maybe quite supportive, possibly of foreign entries, and maybe ones that are worth applying to.
In Canada, you have the Vancouver WebFest. I was there last year with our show, and it was great. We loved that fest. There were lots of creators. It was really well organized. It was really fun. I loved it. And also the Marseille WebFest in France. We also went in October. There were lots of distributors from Europe and parties, and it was really fun. also for terms of knowing distribution in different countries, especially in Europe, of course, it was really interesting. So you should submit to those webfests for sure.
Great. Great, thank you.
Nothing in Singapore, I'm afraid.
Okay.
We've submitted to quite a few in the States. We got into Atlanta and LA. LA Webfest is really, really supportive. So Micah Jaffe over there is really, really good at supporting, getting the word out, sharing things. He's been, it's great.
Okay, cool.
Ollie Shorts in LA is also a good festival. And, Jason, I don't know if you said LA Web Fest. Is that the one that you said?
Yep.
Yeah.
Web Fest. There's another LA one that I have not been to yet.
Holy Webfest?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But there's another big one besides LA Web Fest.
I think the Holy Webfest. Is it?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, but anyway,
and I have to say that the Streamy Awards were fantastic. I don't know how many submissions they get. They pick or they nominate 5 series in each category, but that was a blast. We were nominated for a Streamy this year, and I will submit every year because it was just a fantastically organized event and super fun, and everybody was super friendly and awesome.
Streamy Awards, you said?
Yeah, there's 2 award ceremonies. Well, there's 3 award ceremonies that 2 award ceremonies I submitted to, 3 I knew about. One was the Geeky Awards, which I had a lot of hope for, but then didn't hear anything about once it happened. So take that or leave it. The Streamies are fairly well known, at least in Los Angeles. And then the Webbies. The only problem with that is the Webbies are pretty expensive to submit to. It's like $250. And like Jason said, it's kind of depressing having to spend a lot of money already on a product that you might not be getting a lot of money back from. So it depends on your budget. But the Webbies are also fairly well regarded and well known.
I'll also put in a personal plug for the LA Webfest. I attended. I think it was the first one with our web series many years back, and they really did a great job. They brought in a lot of great film panels, and they just had a lot of great content from all over the world. There's a couple that I'd also just put on your radar. I think Raindance is doing a web fest as well, and Raindance is a really great film festival, so I imagine what they're doing with their web series fest will also be really great. So a shout out to those guys. And then I've heard some good things about the Melbourne Web Fest in Australia, but I personally haven't talked to anybody who has attended, but you guys might know a little bit more about that than I would.
Raindance we just played at, and we were quite successful there. They're very supportive, so yeah, I definitely recommend Raindance in the UK for sure.
Is that where you got discovered, Julian? Or
no, a couple other things came out of that, but this latest possible scenario is through one of our producers, just his contacts. So yeah, but Raindance still though highly recommended for sure.
Well, do you guys have any other questions? Obviously, I get to see a whole lot of content, and just being I'll tell you what doing this kind of festival has really honed my skills also as an independent film producer, and so it just really rounds out everything. But I think what we all do is not only challenging, but it's incredibly fun. We're all incredibly passionate about it, and it really shows off in our work. So just again, keep doing it, guys. Work together in ways that you can, and we'll all learn from each other, and just keep doing it. But yeah, if anybody has any questions for me or each other, please go ahead and ask.
Yeah, I would like to ask for all of you, what are your next projects? What are you working in now or something?
Okay. Well, definitely developing a second season or a second version of Whatever Linda. That's high up on the list. I'm writing that now. And then another digital show, longer form, more so, almost like a mini series, but for the web. And then I've produced a feature as well, so I kind of want to do that again. So I've got a script for a feature that's a higher budget than an indie budget, because I've done that. So just trying to hopefully use this as a calling card to be able to, develop and then create the next ones.
Well, our very first web series was actually commissioned by an online channel here in Singapore, and then it got picked up for TV as well, locally. And so they may be looking at commissioning a mini-series or 3 telemovies, so that might keep us very busy for a while. But in the meantime, we're actually developing something that's called Bang Bang Club, which is about a group of assassins that are hired to assassinate crooked bankers. So it's going to be very long form. We'd like to do something longer than 10 episodes. Incidentally, our very first series that was commissioned was actually 65 episodes. So it was a big start for us to go straight from sort of short filmmaking to go into that. But we love that format so much that we thought, hey, let's do something very long. Fun.
And I have a second season planned for my web series, and same as you guys, writing randomly. I came at my web series from an acting standpoint, so just going on auditions. How about you, Anna?
Well, I'm developing a feature film right now, and let's see what happens. It's a very starting point, so I don't know.
I didn't get the series you guys were working with or for.
Mine is called Whatever Linda. And right now, you could watch the first episode on our national newspaper's website, the Globe and Mail. So if you Google Whatever Linda and the Globe and Mail, I'm sure you'll find it. We're going to be launching in a few weeks, but that'll be up there.
Okay. Ours is called the Perfect.
Ours is Sin Vida Propia, Spanish. You can watch on YouTube, right? Sin Vida Propia. The 2 first seasons are with English subtitles.
Sorry, Anna, can you repeat that? Sorry.
I think I'm losing you. Hello?
Yeah, you're cutting in and out. Yeah.
Could you repeat that, Anna? Your web series.
Sinvidapropia.com.
And of course, you guys can see a lot of each other's content on our festival. We're showing, we've premiered both Andy's and Julian's web series this yesterday, I guess, and we have both Jason's and Anna's showing on Sunday as well. So you guys will be able to catch some of that stuff. Great. I think if Marco wants to jump in really quick, we'll just say hi to Marco, and then I think we'll wrap.
Okay, great.
Hello.
Hey, Marco. We just wanted to introduce you guys, to introduce the rest of the guys to you, our trusty Singapore contact who put out it looks like a great event there. We have Julian with Whatever Linda, Andy with Bad Timing, and Anna with Sin Vida Propia. We have 3 different continents represented, or 4 different continents represented here in this Hangout. So we're really excited. Did a great job. And unless you have any other questions, I think we're good to wrap.
Guess we're good to go.
Yeah. All right, great. Well, thanks everybody for showing up on our World Web Series conversation, and we'll see you guys all online.
Sounds great.
Thanks for having.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Nice
Yep.
meeting
And if you guys want to hang out offline, you can stick out. I'm going to stop the broadcast though now.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thanks.